What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonuff71, aka Digadulamite.
That purple bling bling, y'all. We're back. Yo.
And your auditory canals are tuned into episode 285 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. Of course, I'm not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck is Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
That's me.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just happy to be back, as always, talking about these fantastical, magical, really expensive stuff that we love to do, and that's play video games. Yay.
Indeed, indeed. And of course, our show's a no-go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just keep trucking on in this hot gaming summer over here. So
Hot gaming summer.
you know it. So got to see Superman this weekend, so I was happy. So
So did I.
Talk about that in the playlist. Unless you want to talk about it now, Des.
No, we can continue on.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, I thought about going to see it this weekend. I figure I didn't make it to no theaters, so I'll probably try and catch it next week. But actually the week after. But all right, so that's gonna push us to what is always our first topic on the docket, and that's going to be our playlist. So let's kick things off this week with Dez. What you been up to, man?
Okay, so honestly, the only things that I've been playing, really, I tried to basically do more stuff with my Switch 2, which is hilarious because I've been playing just Switch 1 games on my Switch 2, and they look really good. And again, it was just I say I've been playing, but mostly it was just turning them on and seeing how they look. And the graphics look a lot better on the Switch 2. So I definitely have to say that I am no longer, we all knew this, I'm no longer a high-res hater. I'm a high-res lover because finally the Switch 2 is bringing it to us. And I'm super excited for it, super happy for it. And I'm having a good time. With it. So the one game that I've been playing is I have this series of games from Kemco. So in Japan, Kemco has released these selection of games. And they're usually 4 budget RPGs made from Kemco. And I think a lot of times Kemco makes stuff from like RPG Maker and stuff like that. So it's basically a 20-hour roughly campaign, and it is just the I don't want to say bare bones because sometimes they're really trying to put in some really interesting mechanics into them, but it's basically your quote unquote PS2 Super Nintendo that era of sort of games where it's all looks 8-bit or 64-bit and top down classic JRPGs, and that's pretty much what it is. And they're very the level of quality is just from A to Z. You can get stuff that's really good. Same thing with stories. It's just like this collective of people that are churning out these games. And I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, that sounds terrible. Why would you spend time on that? Well, number one is they're actually pretty good. They're actually pretty fun. Sometimes the story is just completely silly and it's nonsensical. Well, I wouldn't say nonsensical. I think that they always have a point A to a point B. So for that, it's technically pretty good. It's just that they're not groundbreaking or earth-shattering in the least. That is not what it's about. And I really have gotten into I just really have gotten into them, and the you get 4 games for about $25. It's not bad for what you're getting. And you could definitely get these on PlayStation during a sale for like $5 a pop. So it comes about to the same amount if you buy them physically or not, and it really gets around the Nintendo tax, quote unquote. So there's technically 10 right now for the Switch. I'm up to 7. I haven't imported the other ones yet. So that's a long way to basically say that I started playing them. And one of the ones that I'm starting with is As Divine Hearts. It is the series that basically it's one of the longer running series that are part of this Kimco collection of 4 games. Like each system has like one of them, so there's like a couple of different ones. And it's a pretty fun little story about a goddess of light and the goddess of darkness, or the god of darkness and the goddess of light. And they worked in harmony before, but now something is going on, and so the god of darkness is hunting the goddess of light, but the goddess of light, is sort of like foo shishi kind of person, and so she basically possesses. She tries to possess one of the main characters, but unfortunately possesses their cat. So we have this god of light, or goddess of light, inside of a cat. Now we have this talking cat and this one girl who has whips, and another guy who's like your atypical, anime hair protagonist, and it's just silly. But it's really the writing is actually pretty funny, and it doesn't take itself very seriously, and it's just been really fun. And so, and of course it looked good on the Switch, and it looks good on the Switch too. It's not really pushing the system at all, but I'm really enjoying it, and it's a fun little game, and it's pretty much what I've been playing most of my time with the Switch 2 in. But because I haven't fully hooked it up to my big TV, I've been playing it in handheld mode, and it's just, I love it in handheld mode. I think they finally got the sizing right, because after a long time my hands would get really kind of sore holding the normal sized Switch. And then when I had the Switch Lite, it was fun, but still it was a little too small. But I think this one is definitely just right as far as the handheld, as far as the weight, just as far as everything for it. I'm really enjoying my time with the Switch 2. The only other game that I've been playing is Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's that old EA game that came out a couple of years ago, and it's the one where it's Greek mythology. It was like, I want to say it was pretty much the last EA game that was a new IP, and because it didn't sell,
Ubisoft,
like,
you mean?
what was that?
Ubisoft, you mean?
Sorry, Ubisoft. Thank you. It didn't sell well like all the other mainstays. They're not going to make another one, but it was actually really fun. I've talked about this a long time ago, and I'm back to it. For whatever reason, I just really wanted to go back to it and really wanted to play it. I really like Greek mythology. I really like the story that they're telling, and I'm going to see if I can beat it. So those are the only 2 games that I've been playing. Mostly because we just went on a trip to New York for Paul's birthday, so we were in New York last weekend, and the weekend before that, I was working a very long, very intense, very intense conference for work, and so I was working 2 10-hour days back to back, and a couple other days trying to run this thing, and so I wasn't able to do a lot more gaming than what I would have liked, but now I finally feel like I'm kind of back to normal. Normal traveling until this weekend, which means we will not be having a show this coming weekend, but that's fine. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and it'll hopefully go back to status quo as normal. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Joe, because at the end of Joe's, we're going to talk about Superman, because both of us saw Superman this weekend, but before we do that, we're going to check in with Kev, because Kev has not seen it, and we don't want to spoil it for him. So we might just talk about our our general impressions and not give any spoilers away.
No, you don't
But
have to worry about spoilers on my account. I mean, I spoilers for movies for whatever reason don't really bother me. I
yeah,
kind of
same
already
here.
know what happened already,
Yeah.
so yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, let me kick it over to Joe. Joe, what's on your playlist, buddy?
As far as what I've been playing the last couple of weeks, I've been really concentrating on one game. It's like I said before in prior shows, I always play Dragon Quest XI. I picked it up and then kind of dropped off of it. I dropped off of it twice. I was playing it first with the original Dragon Quest XI on PS4, and then I was playing the Switch version, Dragon Quest XI S, and so now I'm playing Dragon Quest XI S on the PS4/PS5 on there, and it's just very old school classic turn-based RPG goodness. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Dragon Quest series, so it's just I'm making it a point to kind of push and get this game, like, play it to its completion on this. So I'm doing pretty well. I have about 24 hours into it so far on there, and I'm doing a lot of the crafting in the game using the Fun Forge on there, and I'm not up to the point to where I haven't passed the point in the story where it's all new to me yet. It's still kind of going over previous plot lines and that kind of thing. So I've been playing through it quite quickly, trying to get everything done. But I'm doing a completionist style, so I'm like doing all the side quests still. I kind of come to memory a little bit for me. So it's like, but it's just really good RPG comfort food, kind of similar to the Kemco RPG games that Desmond's been playing. So I also started playing a little bit this game I finished on a while ago, but Steam World Dig 2 is
Good
a
game.
kind of
Good game.
side-scrolling, basically resumes the plot of Rusty the Miner on here, but I just love the digging aspect of it. I mean, I think that particular development team just has it nailed down. I know a lot of people out there wish there was a SteamWorld Dig 3, but I know after this I might check out maybe SteamWorld Heist and a few other games in that kind of series to see if I like them or not. But what I've played so far is SteamWorld Dig 2. I think I think it's like about a 5-6 hour, like kind of not too big of a time investment. So I figured I'd mix something else in the gaming mix instead of just 100%ing Dragon Quest the entire time. So
It's got a little bit, depending on how far you on. There is a nice little story involved with it. So even though you're digging down, as you unlock new things and dig into different areas, there is more to the story, which I think is really kind of cool. It's not just digging. The first one, I played the first one, and yeah, it was more of digging, but this one has a much more fleshed out story, and I think that's what's so cool about it is there's just so much that you find, quote unquote, under the surface, if you will. So I'm glad you're into it. I wanna see how you like it, because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
well, I remember I played the first one to completion, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's just the point I kind of let this game slip through the cracks, and so that's why I want to go back to it. I know John BT especially has talked about this game too as being one of his favorites. So it's like after I started looking at my backlog, it's like, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, this kind of fits the bill on there. So it's like a good little palate cleanser where, if I'm, tired of all the RPG combat, I could next, throw on a little bit more actiony type game to kind of, mix it up a little bit on there, so. I've been really concentrating too. I want to concentrate on my backlog a lot more. I've been buying less. I've been kind of letting new games go. I'm going to be very like mindful as far as what I'm buying. That if I'm buying it because I'm going to be playing it right away. So because I think if longtime listeners of the show kind of attest, I'm always talking, I got this game or bought this game or so on and so forth. And I just want to be a little bit better with my purchasing habits. So that way I'm not sitting here, when you're burying me, Des, with, making my casket full of empty game cases. I don't want that to occur. So. But that's all I've been up to this past 2 weeks since we last recorded, but I did happen to go see Superman this past weekend, so kind of mash it up a little bit. I was really happy with the movie. I mean, I've been more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan, and so it's like I'm more accustomed to the roots of all the DC characters, even the deep lore characters, and I felt that James Gunn kind of hit what made Superman in the movie. And now I see some discourse talking about is Superman 2 woke. It's like, get out of here. That's how Superman always was, and always will be, in my opinion. And what you think about the movie, Des?
I have to agree. I think it was very bright. It was very colorful. They actually had suits that were comic accurate. And I want to say that for this newest entry in the DC universe, I like it. I like it, and I think it is just different enough from the other DC movies that came before it that it felt fresh and more more interesting than what has come before. And I like that James Gunn did not shy away from adding more heroes and making the universe or the world feel more lived in. One thing that you'll notice is while there is a Justice Gang, it feels like this is in the continuity of this. It feels like metahumans are still relatively new and they're still getting their foothold in. So while it was not an origin story, it did feel like more of a beginning or starting point for the universe that James Gunn is creating. And I like that. I like that Superman's origin, they told it literally in the beginning in a couple of sentences, and you were off to the races. They give you a little bit of exposition during a couple of interview scenes in with Lois and Clark and all that. You got to see a little bit of it in the trailers, but they really get into it. Just overall, I thought everyone played their parts well, and they knew their parts. They knew what they were doing. Nathan Fillion with Guy Gardner, totally. I can never remember the name who played Mr. Terrific, but he was definitely the standout character. I think Mr. Terrific needs his own movie. What he did and just the with the screen time that he had, he completely stole the show every time he was on the screen. Just fantastic. What a 100% about face for that actor who was completely shit on in X-Men First Class. He played Darwin, the mutant who could evolve against anything, who could survive anything because his mutant ability is to evolve, and he gets killed in the movie. Just horrible. Finally, that actor gets to show his range and who he is. It's just, yeah.
How does that work? I'm sorry, I have to ask. How does that? If your whole thing is you can evolve, how the hell did they kill him? I never saw the X-Men movie,
so basically, what happens is in X-Men First Class, which was the newest of the X-Men, because they went back in time and they started showing prequel movies about the X-Men. That's how they refreshed the franchise. And they had a whole bunch of new mutants, and one of the new mutants was Darwin, whose ability is his body. He has a triggered ability, like he's not like Cyclops where he can turn it on and just use it. His is an automatic mutation, and so whenever his body is put into a sense of destruction, it protects him automatically. And so what the character did, Sebastian Shaw, who they changed his power set anyway, he could create these little balls of kinetic energy, almost like Gambit, and cause explosions. And so he basically created one of them and forced Darwin to eat it. And it was going to kill Darwin by exploding him, so Darwin turned to stone. And that's how his body reacted to it, thus stopping him by turning him into stone. And just the dumbest thing, right? So, but supposedly, right. So supposedly the
Oh
actor
my
came
God.
out and said later that he was supposed to have come back in the second movie. But when that call did not come, he knew that, that was it for him. And he was just like, well, whatever. And so, but that's like one of the most glaring evil things that they've ever done in a movie, to a character who's supposed to be literally unkillable. It was just dumb. It was just dumb. It was stupid. And I'm so glad that that actor got a second chance because he steals the movie and everything that he's in, he steals the movie. Just a fun movie overall. Ultraman, the reveal of Ultraman was not what was it was telegraphed a mile away that it was a clone of Superman. I just was upset that they did not go all the way with Bizarro, and make him Bizarro. But how he's defeated leaves it that he might be able to come back later in a more Bizarro like form. So let's hope that James Gunn knows what he is doing. One thing that James Gunn did that completely made this movie, there's one thing. Okay, the whole movie, solid A movie, really a great place to start with the new franchise. Everything was great until one thing happened. They show Supergirl at the end, and the Supergirl that they're doing is based on Supergirl of Tomorrow, which is a story in which she goes into a planet that has a red sun, so she does not have her superpowers, and she is forced to basically quote unquote grow up and become a badass warrior woman. That's the story that they're basing the Supergirl movie after. In the new continuity, Crypto is her dog. That is why Superman in the movie says that it's a foster situation. I'm just taking care of this dog. And you find out at the end it's because that Kara, his cousin, was off world. And so Crypto was taking care of her. I call bullshit on that because in the comic books, Crypto was always Superman's dog, and she had a cat named Streaky, the Super Cat. And James Gunn has done a yellow cat erasure, and I just am not here for it. I think it's evil. I want him to stop, and I want justice for Streaky. So I'm announcing a campaign called Justice for Streaky, in which I'm going to petition to have Streaky put into the movies. So go to our Discord and wherever you're at and post. Go to our Discord, post on X, post on Twitter, YouTube, wherever. Post hashtag Justice for Streaky. The yellow cat erasure will not be tolerated. Joe, what were your thoughts? What was that?
Oh, God forbid, but I didn't even know about Streaky,
Yep.
I didn't know all the backstory and whatnot. I
Yep.
should study up on my Supergirl lore and
Well, just read Supergirl of Tomorrow, and
you
you'll see what the new movie is about. It's actually pretty good. I've only read like maybe the first two issues, and then I kind of wasn't really into it after that. But now that it's based on something and there's a graphic novel out, I'll probably pick it up and read it. And Lo was in it, so
Superman was so good, I'd probably debate about seeing it again. So
I'll see it again. I would see it again.
Yeah, just so I could catch all the little like nuances and maybe just rewatch it and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in it that I did not even notice. So, but
Kev, what
yeah,
you been up to? What you been playing?
yeah. What you been playing, Kev?
So I've been playing, of course, Helldivers 2. This is when I have time to play. It's been my game time has just dwindled down to next to nothing.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been Helldivers 2 and Devil May Cry 5, making my way through both games. Helldivers 2, I am working on extreme level missions, so now I am I thought I was 2 levels away from Super Hell Dive. Now it turns out I was 3. I skipped one because I need to get ultra rare samples in order to be able to fully pimp out my destroyer with abilities for my supplies, for my supply drops. So I decided to skip uh, super hard or whatever they call that one and go to extreme. After extreme, it's like if there's one other thing, and I can't remember what they call it, and then after that is super hell dive. So, yeah, I'm experiencing a level of hell divers brutality I have yet to experience before, but having fun. I can complete some of the missions, some of the mission types. I, however, cannot complete like the search and destroy and the Bile Titan extermination missions. They're pretty rough. And mostly what takes me out are the streakers, or there's no shriekers, not streakers. The shriekers, which are the flying enemy type, and yeah, they're kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm working with different loadouts to try and give me some help with the Bile Titan missions and the search and destroys. The other ones is if I do make it to extraction, it's like it's my last life, like. And I'm not 100%ing the map either. It's like, okay, I got one life left. I know I'm not going to make it if I go searching around and getting some of these extra these extra things. So let me just get to the extraction. Devil May Cry 5, still enjoying that, making my way through that game, enjoying the combat. I have to say though, I am not enjoying V's content. For those who are unfamiliar, or if it's been a long time since you played it, V is like this sorcerer class, for lack of a better word, that they introduced to this series. All of his attacks are ranged. He summons 2 demons, a talking raven-like creature and a panther-like creature. And I don't know, for whatever reason, the attack flow I cannot gel with their attack flow whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why that's the case is because the combat system in Devil May Cry 5 is designed for melee. And I honestly think that V should have had a different combat system built around ranged attacks. Like, particularly when fighting bosses, because one of the problems, particularly with the Panther, is that when you summon the Panther, it automatically appears by V. It does not appear by the targeted enemy. So your first couple of attacks when you're fighting a boss is going to be they're just going to hit air, because he's going to summon next to you and he's going to do 1 or 2 attacks until the system realizes that you're targeting a boss. Then he'll disappear, or he'll charge over to the boss and begin attacking at that point. The Raven is a ranged character as well that shoots energy blasts at a distance and can create like a lightning strikes, and it's got a couple other attacks that are very hard to pull off. You follow the instructions in the training mode, and like 9 times out of 10 in a live combat situation, they do not come out. Yeah, V was not. He should have had his own specialized enemies that he would have to fight, or they should have reworked the targeting system around, or better worked the targeting system, create his own specific one. But still, I've made it past. I'm back using Nero again, so the combos are flowing much easier now. Outside of gaming, I watched the Ghost of Yote gameplay reveal, and Sucker Punch has done it again, man. Ghost of Yote looks to be a Game of the Year contender in my book. Of course, there cannot be a high-profile piece of media without folks claiming that it's woke, or the political beliefs of the folks involved in the game. In this case, the voice actress Erika Ishii, her political viewpoints. Oh, Bill, the game is going to suck because she's a lefty. It's like, okay, number one, it's like, unless you're under a rock, or unless all you do is consume Breitbart every day, Breitbart news every day, most creative people are lefties. It's like, whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is. And number two, I saw nothing in the gameplay reveal that showed that they are going to interject anybody's political viewpoint in this game. It is a straight up revenge story, in line with a lot of the Wandering Samurai movies that were done, I guess, in the 60s, 70s, into the 80s. Several directors' techniques have been included in this game, from the black and white, film grain filters, the audio, certain directors, and they name them. And one of the coolest things I've seen is the guy that directed the audio for Samurai Champloo. If you have not seen it, you need to see it. That is a kind of a fusion of Japanese anime and hip hop from an auditory perspective, and it is one of the best anime series out there. That director has provided some tracks for the game, and there's a mode that you can play that way. There's also another director, which I will be playing the game in his style, where the combat is kind of more close up, and there is an emphasis on environmental splatter and blood splatter. So it's extremely bloody, extremely dirty if you're fighting in wet environments. So that's going to be my mode, because it's like, I don't care, you're cutting folks with swords, there's going to be blood flying everywhere, and I want to see that. Yeah, I know it probably doesn't say much about me as a person, but it is what it is. This game is going to be absolutely fantastic, so can't wait for that. At work, I had a very heavy day at work, calendar-wise, so I've been staying overtime just about every day this past week, which has given me some more time to listen to podcasts, as I have not been in the viewpoint of the public, rather. So I've had more time than usual to listen to podcasts, and I wound up going down a rabbit trail of what they call shoots, which are wrestlers doing interviews, real life interviews about their experiences in the different organizations that they've been in. And I think what put me in was the whole situation with R-Truth a few weeks ago. And I watched a couple of podcasts regarding his termination and rehiring, whether it was a work or not a work. And it kind of threw me into this whole wrestler interviews or wrestler shooting. That's the colloquial term for it, about the real life goings on behind the scenes. And the couple, I'm going to highlight a couple. Kevin Nash, he has a podcast called Click This, and it's like, I don't know, man. There is something about an old white man with no filter talking about stuff. Well, let me correct that. An old white man who's not a racist. Let's put it that way. Kevin, I was cracking up. It's like I started down this, listening to his Click This interviews. Like a lot of his stuff, definitely. It was actually kind of refreshing, because it's like he talked a lot about him and his friendship with Scott Hall. It's his passing still affects him today. That was obviously like a brother to him. And talking about some of the stuff that they did on the road, how I can't remember who it was, like backstage, Scott Hall literally got punched in the face. And it was interesting how Kevin was like, yeah, well, whenever there's like a real time or a serious beef going on in the back, the one thing you never do is you never hit somebody in the face, like closed fist punch, because the face is your money maker. That's part of your money maker. You can't be going on out into the ring and having bruises, and swollen eye before the match. It takes the illusion. It takes the illusion away. And I guess Scott Hall had done something to some wrestler. This was when they were on like a circuit trip, or doing a house show. And Scott is in the back, and the dude that he had the match with, had gone and complained to the booker. And I guess there had been a decision that they were going to fire Scott Hall. It was like right when he first started with WWF. Like they're or rather, no, it wasn't. It might have been. I can't remember if it was WCW or WW. Anyway, they were going to fire him, and Kevin started saying how how he viewed what went down. The guy had told Scott it was cool, and then went behind his back and was trying to get the man's job, take the man's job away. And Nash went up to the guy. Nash went up to the guy, and he's like, and I open hand slapped him in the side of the head. And Scott was like pulling him off. He's like, no, it's like this. It's not, no, man, don't do this. And it's like, and he said, and Kevin Nash is like, yeah, and I did it twice because I didn't like that punk mother effer.
Well, at least you guys get back.
I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, a lot of, the other one that I watched was, Jim Ross and Jim Cornette did an interview in the UK with Bret Hart, and they talked about the screw job, and they really went in depth about what happened to Bret.
Seen that one before. I've seen that one before. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it before. I mean, I knew about it, but I'd never seen like this real, a real in-depth thing. And they really screwed him over. But it sounds like they were trying to screw him over even long before that, because Bret was like the highest paid wrestler in WWF at the time. And I guess like Vince was like constantly going to him and saying, man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay you, and so trying to get him to take a pay decrease And Brett was like, "No, I'm not doing that. And I'm putting butts in seats, and my merch is selling off the shelves." And that's kind of like what led to that. And it's like there was no lack of money to pay him, and it was just kind of like one of those things that he had kind of laid out the work that he wanted to do with Sean. A lot of people, Sean was not like the nicest person apparently in the locker room with a lot of folks, and that was definitely apparent with some like the several of the kind of like the bigger name wrestler shoots that I watched. There was one with Chris Jericho, and he talked a little bit about that. Him and Sean were not the best of friends. Him and Triple H definitely were not the best of friends. He was talking about one of the WrestleManias that they were supposed to do. And because he came from WCW, apparently, there was this one time where he was supposed to get instructions on where to drive from the airport to get to the arena where the show was going to be. So he's like, somebody recommended, well, you might want to call Paul, aka Triple H, and find out how the quickest way to get to the arena, because I guess there was an issue with his flight. So he got there a little bit late. So he's calling him up, and he said, "I'm on the other end." He's like, "I just hear this, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, this is Chris Jericho. I would kind of like, if I was told that you would have the quickest." And again, this is before smartphones and MapQuest and all that. He's like, "I heard you knew the quickest way to get from the airport to the arena." He's like, Triple H was like, "Yeah, I do. Go buy a motherfucking map," and just hangs up the phone. And he's like, "Damn, I just like, what did I do?" And it's like he called the number again, and he would not pick up. And I guess there was nobody else that literally had to like go to gas stations and find out get there in time to be able to do the show. And he started talking about a lot of some of the other stuff he experienced earlier on in his career.
I didn't think their beef was that deep, though.
Oh yeah, some of the beefs, some of the beefs were really that bad. And again,
Damn.
I mean, you can only take there's two or more sides to every story. So unless all the parties involved are doing the interview, you may not. You can say, well, you're only getting one side of it, but these shoots are just some of the most entertaining. And because they took place, a lot of their discussions, at least the ones I watched, were during the WCW Monday Night Wars, which is, to me, when I was the biggest fan of wrestling during that era. I found them particularly extra entertaining. So, for sure, definitely watch. If you have even a casual interest in wrestling, I would suggest checking it out. And lastly, there was the $1 million pot for City of the Wolves during the esports tournaments this past week. I was able to watch a lot of it. I did not watch the finals live, but I did catch up in them. Catch up with them. It was Goichi and Xiaohai, I believe, competing for the winner's share of $1 million pot for this game. Some of the best fighting game matches, period, I think I've ever seen. It's like both of those guys are playing this game at a level that is absolutely ridiculous, like knowing when to mash out in between a combo stream. Like you really need to know. You really need to have an understanding of that game's core systems, and both of them put on a fantastic show. Goichi came from behind and secured it from Shanghai. It was just absolutely fantastic. So they also revealed Ken as the newest character coming to City of the Wolves, and they had his introductory trailer shown at the esports arena. And Ken is doing his Ken stuff. He's kind of like a combination of Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 6 in his move set. So it looks really good. And that's another game I need to get in and start playing. But that's what I have been up to this past couple of weeks. So we're going to let the main event kind of marinate a bit, and hope and try and get some more responses. So between now and the 2 weeks until we return, I'd highly encourage y'all to hit us up on our Discord or on our Blue Sky account and respond to our main event question. So I will be passing the ball directly to Jabroni Chief for the Jabroni Gaming News. All right, bro, you got the mic, man.
All right, thank you, Kev. Okay, first thing we want to talk about real quick here is that, if you haven't been paying attention, back on July the 4th, or close to it, there was a bunch of layoffs at Microsoft. So they laid off a total of excess of 9,000 employees. So, if you want to stick your Dragon Ball Z memes in here, 9,000 is quite a bit on here. But they basically went in, they canceled a bunch of games. Everwild got canceled. It was announced over like 6 years ago, and no one really heard about it. There was like a subsequent trailer then from there, but that game has been canceled. Pretty much a producer of that game, who had been at Rare for 35 years, announced his departure from the company. The reboot of Perfect Dark, which was announced and basically shown at a Xbox game showcase back in 2024, was canceled as well. The particular development group that was supposed to work on that, which is the Initiative, they basically, the quadruple A studio got shut down. Turn 10 basically got their employee count halved. So basically Forza Motorsport is no more, that they're not going to be making any more Forza Motorsport games at all. So there was also a game being worked on by ZeniMax Online, this particular game called Blackbird on there. And basically they've been working on this game since 2018, and they decided to cancel it. So, and there are quite a few people there that were working on that are now unemployed on there. There's some footage basically that Phil Spencer played that game and really was digging it. It wasn't like an MMO RPG. It was an MMO online shooter, kind of like a Destiny. So they were going into that direction on that project. So overall, I mean, pretty much all these cards were laid on the table. A lot of there was a tone deaf memo, I guess, that was released by Phil Spencer, talking about that, basically that the Xbox is still, quote unquote, working to have, like, they were basically talking about that that they were doing great as a company, but we had to focus on different areas. So that's the reason why they had to, lay off all these people, fire all these people. So according to this is the internal statement. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap has never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we made previously. We now must make choices for continued success in future years, and key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. So that's what was sent internally to all the Microsoft employees that got fired. So yeah. I kind of felt like we've been hard on Phil throughout the years a little bit, but I could say, basically it's a point that I think you call a spade a spade. I mean, it's like if you've been a long time listener of this show, I definitely could, probably how all three of us feel about this. So, for me personally, it's like Xbox to me as a brand, I mean, pretty much is dead. I'm thinking, if they come up with a game that kind of fits my interests and that comes out on the platform that I like and want to play it on, I will, keep an interest in there, but not be flying back to Argentina to renew my Game Pass Ultimate once it runs out.
Definitely not.
Definitely kind of, corporations are going to corporate, so it's not like Microsoft or, better or worse than any of these other companies out here. But, kind of put your money where your mouth is on this thing. So I won't be supporting Microsoft, if at all for anything. Same thing with EA and these other companies that basically are like, not really, they're chasing after that dollar. And, you have to have a balance between creativity and ultimately the bottom line. And to me, this is just more of a sacrifice of the creativity of your creators out there making these games where you're working hard just for the bottom line. I know a lot of the money they said that they allocated from all these firings are going to go towards the development or continued development of AI by Microsoft. So it's pretty much just it's sad. I went to Walmart last week and I was looking at because they had the new sections kind of mapped out, and the physical presence of Xbox was lowered down to like one physical case
Are
of
you
games,
surprised?
where the games are basically they were spaced out so sparsely that you only had like one game on each thing, and then it was just there was more hardware Xbox controllers than they had games actually at stock at Walmart. And then, of course, the physical presence of both PlayStation and Nintendo Switch got like several lock cases of Nintendo Switch 2, peripherals and games and so on and so forth. So, I mean, this Game Pass initiative by Microsoft to me is it's just taking their mind share, and I mean it's kind of lessen their priority in the console gaming market. There is no more, competition. It's basically PlayStation and Nintendo, and that's pretty much it. So
Don't forget Valve.
yeah, don't forget Valve and PC gaming. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
PC gaming.
Valve is kind of horning in on the Microsoft space. I know Microsoft are looking to gamify Windows, and I basically have stated before, and we've stated on the show, that Windows hasn't been a good place for gaming as far as any Xbox app or anything like that. So, I know that if they even, color me surprised if Microsoft gets the Xbox app up and running like the Steam Deck Valve's app on PC. That's just no way, no how, no chance. It just seems like a losing battle on all fronts for Microsoft right now. So, Des, what's your overall take on this? Yeah, pretty much I could know what your take is right then and there.
What do you think I'm thinking, Joe?
I'm thinking you're thinking that like you are wanting Xbox to do better. You are interested in Xbox like
No, I have
stated.
I have rethunk my thinking, and I'm going to be getting I'm going to be getting their ROG Ally. I think Xbox is the future, and we just need to accept it and keep on going. Just kidding. No, I don't know what Xbox is doing. Well, I know what Xbox is doing. They're trying to either diversify a little bit and really try to say, like, we don't need to to be a hardware person anymore when we can just continue to continue to partner with folks in order to have them do the stuff, and then if we just kind of sit over here and do our thing, everyone will be sort of happy, because we're giving them something, whether it's good or bad, they're getting something, and that's good enough. I really feel that Xbox is very much it's good enough kind of, it isn't a it's good enough kind of situation, and I just don't. I've never seen a company try so hard and fail so spectacularly, and it's like they so much want to quote unquote innovate and do more and do this, but like, who is asking them for this? That's always been the thing that just kills me about this whole situation, is like, who is asking, for them to do this? Like, I'm not, all I'm asking for is the same thing that, Kevin's asking for, that you're asking for. And that is just, please just give us games. Like, give us games. This whole thing about them and their hardware and all this other stuff, like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get it. And I really wish that they would just decide, not to be that anymore. And I don't think that that's going to happen, because that's just not who they are right now. And it really is sad. It really is sad. So I just don't know. Like, I want so bad for Xbox to be the Xbox of old, and I just think that that's just never going to happen, and that's just how we're going to have to deal with it, So I mean, good luck to folks who love Xbox and who believe that, they are doing, the Lord's work and all this other stuff. But at the moment, my friends, I don't think that they are. Like, I just do not think that they are. So that's kind of where I am with that, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you have anything else to add?
I mean, these the basic thing. Then there was this interview by this lady. I can't remember her name. She was involved on the team that created the first Xbox, and she's been away from Microsoft for a while. I can't remember when she said that she left the company. It's like 2010 or 2011, something like that. And her response to the layoffs and her critique of Microsoft's gaming division and how it's run really went viral. And of course, the bots attacked her, said that she was a disgruntled employee. She didn't really work on Xbox, that she has an axe to grind with the company. But everything that she spoke about is true. She's like, they were not competing in the console market. They decided to try and change trajectory, but they did not have a plan of attack to do so. And buying up studios, paying, ridiculous amounts of money to obtain Activision Blizzard for games that were coming to the system anyway, made zero sense from the standpoint of having a console. The idea is that Microsoft could have money-hatted exclusives from these then third-party publishers, third-party studios, and said, "Hey, we'd like you to make our whether it's limited, whether it's this game is only going to be out on Xbox, or you can say Xbox and PC." They could have, and it would have cost them a much lower amount of money to fund projects, the same way that Sony is doing with their hero projects in China, in India, and other parts of the world. Microsoft just wants to throw money at a problem, and it's being run from Satya on down by people because we can't forget Satya initially wanted to sell off the Xbox division. When he first came in, that was what he wanted to do. He wanted to get rid of it. Phil fought for it, and the methodology that they went, every step that they took just devalued the console. Day and date on PC was the big one. To me, it just didn't make any sense. It just does it. Day and date on PC, it's like, why? And now they're stuck with putting their games on Nintendo and PlayStation. And if this program was working, they would not be doing that. So I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's that people lost their jobs because Microsoft doesn't know what the hell to do with their gaming division.
Mm-mm.
But a big part of that also, and I'll end with this, is that Microsoft loves using contract workers, and they use contract workers because they don't want to pay benefits. The problem is that once these guys, when these guys start on a contract, and that it's what is rumored to have been Perfect Dark's biggest problem, because that game has been in development for 6-7 years. The first group of contractors start, and their contract ends. Microsoft doesn't extend it. They don't offer to make them full-time, don't offer a benefits package. Those guys move on to their next gig. The next group of people comes in. Well, now the full-time team members have to bring these folks up to speed as to where they are. And by the time they're brought up to speed, their contracts are up. So getting projects off the ground takes longer to do, because you keep dropping the people that are doing the work because you don't want to bring them on full time. And that's crazy. There is not a fostering of skill sets going on in Microsoft run studios, because it's cheaper to treat their developers like a manufacturing line, and just like a car rental service, and just rent them till the contract's up, and then you take them back, and then you get a new set of people. But then you got to bring those people up to speed. There is no solidifying behind core values of a studio. There's no solidification around the work ethic of a studio, getting people involved in the culture of the company. There's no investment. And that's why we have had not so great titles come out recently. I don't, and until that changes, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And if they're investing heavily into AI, we're going to be getting a lot more Game Pass slop in future projects.
Most definitely. 100% agree with you, sir.
Yeah, Perfect Dark was in development since 2020, and they got the Crystal Dynamics in there 2021 to help develop the game, but there was several people that left the initiative, a lot of the producers on there, and so it's kind of mothering along a little bit. They were still working on it, but what was shown in the Xbox showcase in 2024 was considered as being a vertical slice, but some of it was bullshit stuff, meaning that some of the effects that were in that gameplay demonstration wouldn't be in the actual game itself. It was made for the 2024 Xbox showcase specifically, so
he's lying anyway.
Like I know for Grounded 2, that they just shown they're co-developing that with Eidos of all people, if you remember Eidos. But that's another group that was under Square Enix until it got sold off to the one particular, I think I'm trying to remember the name of that group that bought up Embracer.
Embracer?
Eidos, yeah. So it's just, it is what it is. There's right now some people posting that if you want to save Perfect Dark, like some of the actors and actresses in the game, we're telling people to demand this to speak up so that Microsoft doesn't cancel this game. But it's long since canceled. So
What are we gonna do? We can't do nothing.
yeah,
She ain't
you
gonna listen
know,
to us.
I don't. There's also rumors right now too that the new Halo game that's supposed to come out next year it's underbaked right now as it stands. So we'll have to, I'm gonna say we'll have to see. But if I was gonna get my Magic 8 Ball out, it's like I don't, unless it's Call of Duty or something that's gonna make Microsoft Xbox division money, it's like who knows what they're gonna be working on. So it's like
I don't care.
they don't care. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on. Kind of mentioned a couple of games that got announced in the last couple of weeks. So Stalker 2 is finally going to be coming out for PlayStation 5 later this year with PS5 Pro enhancements. So basically, this game came out for Xbox Series consoles and PC back in November 2024. On here, I'm thinking there's an exclusivity deal in place, so probably it's going to come out for PlayStation more than likely, probably to the day November 2025 coming up on here. So Stalker is kind of, we'll have to see how it kind of bakes out. I know when it first came out, it was like 2 out of 5 stars, but it's the point that it's something to where I don't know if the game is going to do well or not. We'll see on there. Des, do you have any thoughts on Stalker 2?
Never played any of them.
Got it. Right. And then next thing was a game announced by D3. So D3 is publishing a game called Full Metal Schoolgirl. It's an over-the-top action game that's coming out in October of 2025. I thought the kind of gameplay reveal kind of is up Kevin's alley on here. So it's about 2 cyborg high school girls that rise up to destroy an evil corporation on here, and you're basically going up a 100-story skyscraper on there, and so there's all sorts of shenanery and craziness on here. The firearms, just like shotguns, melee weapons, chainsaw, and blades, and it looks like a good, like kind of almost like a roguelike going up and pounding through 100 stories of a high rise. I'm kind of looking forward to this. I think Kev would too as well. So we'll have to take a look at Full Metal Schoolgirl once that comes out in October of 2025. And then last but not least, Des, Atelier Ryza Secret Trilogy Deluxe Pack was announced. So imagine me, a gamer that likes to collect, buying Atelier Ryza 1, 2, and 3, and then lo and behold, they're soon to release sequels to these games with deluxe content, new playable characters, and new story elements on here. And much to my chagrin, imagine in your backlog you have Atelier Ryza 1, 2, and 3 waiting to be played, and then lo and behold, you don't have the best version of said game. So,
well, thank God I waited.
Did you wait? Did you seriously?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
I don't have them. So
all right.
And I did not pick them up. So I'm sorry, buddy.
It's okay. Yeah, they're coming out for all the newer platforms, including PS5 and Switch 2. So I'm sure that they will play great. I'm sure, Des, that you'll probably pick them up with due quickness on the Switch 2.
Nope. I'm actually going to pick them up on the whatchamacallit, the
PlayStation.
Yep, I'm picking them up on the PlayStation.
Right on.
So PlayStation gets for me, sir.
All right. So we'll see. They're going to announce at least more details about the trilogy coming up on August 4th on there, which will have more details about what's new for the deluxe collection on there. So, and with that, that is the end of the Jabroni gaming news for this episode.
All righty, Joe. So, unfortunately, Kevin had to run. So, for Kevin, I will say that, I am Dez, the Bay Area Terror, and the every other thing that he says about me.
High res hater.
High res hater, and Joe is Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
Super Jabroni Chief Joe over there. And for Kev, who is what is it, Jabroni Chief? No, Kev is the Digadulamite.
Digadulamite, purple bling bling, y'all. This is
bling bling in your face, y'all.
We don't do these outros, so we might have to like splice in Kevin's from other episodes.
Nah, we're not going to. This is us, everybody. So
yeah,
love it or leave it. This is us. So
yeah, game night. I'm gonna see if I can throw a game night together in the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye out on both Blue Sky and also on Discord. On there, I've been itching to play some multiplayer business, so we'll see what's out there and what you guys want to play, what's available on the services on there. Definitely let me know what you guys want to play. And Des, I don't know if there's anything on multiplayer or anything that you'd want to give a gander, but definitely
not at the moment. But again, if you have something that you would like to play, let us know, and we will do our best to get it. And or I'm sure Joe has it, and we can play. Also, check out our Blue Sky account, Gaming Vessels as well. We are no longer on X.
No more X.
No more X. So you can definitely check us out on that, as well as going to YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. We are on YouTube now, so please tell your friends. We're trying to grow that as well. So again, I want to say thank you. Also, we had to skip the main event question, but we're trying to think about changing that to a what are y'all playing? I think we're gonna retire the main event for a little bit and actually wanted to talk about what you all are playing out there. So if you want to join us on our Discord, you can post in there what you've been playing, and we can talk about that. Give us a little reason why you're playing it, and if we should check it out, because there's so many games out there nowadays. Just so many games that Joe, me, and Kev just cannot keep up with all of them. So definitely let us know what you're playing, and we can talk about that. I think that's a great way to get some community spirit going. That way, we're all experiencing the same games, and we can all talk about them and enjoy them together. So that's a long-winded way to say, Joe, do you have anything that you would like to say before we end it?
No, everything's all good in the hood over here. So thank you for joining us again.
And we'll check you out next time.
Peace.